Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday night broadcast, sponsored by DE and Brandon Brothers around the world. Just coming off of DE. I couldn't make it there personally, but through the live stream, I was participating from afar. And Dr. Tyler, my associate, came back, and his energy's all high, and everybody's high. And the 49 breaths the past couple of days had more people on it than we've had maybe in years, if not ever. So, a lot of energy coming back from this last DE. So it's not too early to sign up for the next DE. The next DE is April 10th through the 13th. It's at the same wonderful place. It's Sheridan Sandy Beach. And it's time to get locked in and get your hotel now. Make it your reservations and get ready, because April DE in Clearwater Beach will be a lot better weather, I guarantee you. So get signed up and get ready for that. We have, again, now's when people come back, they have a little bit of high from a DE. Now's the time to make sure that, one, you get on the breaths, you get on these calls, you do the Monday night Band of Brothers calls, you connect with your team members. Connect with your team members and get with your groups, and make sure you have your texts. Things will come up. Ask questions. Ask questions if you have problems, and more importantly, celebrate your victories, your wins. It's time to keep communicating so we don't feel like you're ever alone. So having said that, feeling like you're never alone, our speaker tonight is Sara Mechanic. And Sara, as many of you heard this weekend, works with Alex Rubin. And, BJ Palmer, one of my favorite quotes, you never know how far-reaching what you think, say, and do today can affect millions of people in the future. And Sara was she's from Philly, went to school at Life Chiropractic University, Life College, and was under the tutelage of Dr. Paul Blumsack. And Dr. Paul somehow or another connected her with Alex, and she interned with Alex, and now she's rocking it. I'll let her tell the story, but again, you never know how far-reaching what you think, say, or do today will affect millions later. And from what I'm hearing, Sara is going to be affecting millions for a long time to come. So with no further ado, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, let's hear it for Dr. Sara Mechanic. Take over, girl.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I just want to start off with thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be speaking amongst amazing principled chiropractors. So, little backstory about me. I started life back in 2021. I just graduated September 24 and just rolled right into practice with Dr. Alex back in November, I would say. And it's been amazing. So one of my things I wanted to talk about was actually my big goal for this new year was to be able to start doing a little bit more public speaking. Actually, funny backstory, at the last DE, not in Florida, but in Atlanta, I wanted to speak at the Parade of Stars, and I was so nervous, I just couldn't do it. I choked. So I'm so happy at this last DE, I actually spoke and told a little bit about my truth, which was amazing. And I owe that all to Dr. Alex in China. They pushed me. They knew how much I wanted to do this. Actually, China came and sat right next to me and was like, you're going to do this. You're going to speak. And I did. And I love it. And I'm just working on bettering myself and trying to keep talking here. So here I am. And at the Parade of Stars, I touched a little bit on my journey of what Dynamic Essentials has brought to me. And I just wanted to continue on that and specifically talk about how I turned some of the most traumatic things in my life into power and how I'm doing so much better than I was. So again, backstory, I started chiropractic school at Life University in 2021. I felt very innately driven to chiropractic, partially due to me meeting another Dr. Justin Ohm, at my job. I was working at an acupuncture clinic, and he would come in, and I was so excited about the days he would come in. And he gave me my first adjustment, and it was life-changing. And after that, I never looked back, and I knew for a fact I wanted to start chiropractic school. Also, a little fun fact, both my parents are MDs, so I was definitely not a chiro baby. I didn't see a chiropractor until I was probably 24, 25 years old. I'm currently 31 right now. And it changed my life. And I decided, you know what? not going the MD route. I'm going to be a chiropractor. And I also saw, just as my parents being MDs, how much it was more of like a sense of urgency, anger all the time, just a lot of like stuff going on that I did not want to really be a part of. And that's why I found chiropractic and I loved it. So shortly right before I started my chiropractic journey, I was still kind of bopping around. It was COVID time, so I wasn't really sure when I should apply, all of these things. And then unfortunately, my dad passed away. When my dad passed away, I really took a second and took a step back and said, no, Sarah, you need to do your goals. And I kind of turned that trauma of losing my dad into starting chiropractic school. And it was amazing. I powered through school. I loved every second of it. It was hard. If anyone knows Dr. Fox's radiology classes, it wasn't easy, but I was powering through because of my love for chiropractic. Then shortly in my quarter 9 year, this is when I actually had started clinic with Dr. Paul Blemsack. I found out my mom was also very sick. She actually ended up having early onset dementia, a very rare form of dementia, and I felt really lost. Honestly, I lost a lot of my power. I felt angry at the world. I felt like someone owed me something. I had this big chip on my shoulder, and it was really, really devastating for me. So my last 4 quarters in chiropractic school were really, really rough. But thankfully, I powered through that. Fast forward, I was looking for a peak doctor in Philly, and it's really, really hard there was no peak doctors on our internship lists that were principal doctors that I was really looking for. So I reached out to actually one of my best friends. She was a home birth midwife in the Philadelphia tri-state area. And I asked her for recommendations, and she mentioned Dr. Alex Rubin to me. And then I was also talking to my clinic doc, Dr. Blumsack, and I asked him, I said, do you know any docs in the area that I could peak with? And he goes, oh, I know a guy. So he texted Dr. Alex, said, what do you think about getting a peak student? And Alex immediately said, yes. We connected, and literally Alex rushed to do that paperwork. And before you know it, by April, I was interning with him. It was a really good time. And as soon as I met Alex, it was, amazing. He threw me right in. He treated me like family immediately. And I knew right then and there I chose the right practice. It was really, really nice to, find a doc in such a short amount of time who was principled and caring and, very trusting of me. And I'll go into a lot about that later. But I just felt so innately driven to this practice. And it was so lucky how that turned out. So when I started my journey at interning at Abundant, it was very eye-opening for me. I'd never been to a high volume practice like that before. And as much as I loved it, it was also scary as a new doc. I was a little nervous, not super confident in myself. And in the beginning, I felt like I kind of had like a roadblock. I had a little voice in my head saying, like, how can you give out of your own abundance when you don't feel abundant yourself? It's hard. I could tell I was still struggling with a lot mentally and emotionally from my mom. And I was literally working at a place called Abundant, but I didn't feel abundant myself, which was, it was hard. So then Alex, shortly after that, we went to our first DE together. And my first DE was in July of 2024. And immediately when I went to Dynamic Essentials, I was showered with love and just abundance and caring and everything else that I was very shocked and super happy to receive. I remember actually talking to Dr. Tony Ann telling me, and she looks at me and she goes, you seem so confident. And that shocked me because at the time I felt anything but. And that actually did spark my confidence, though, to a whole nother level that I never thought it would be. I was like, if she sees me as confident, there's something I'm not seeing that people are seeing from within me. So And during that Dynamic Essentials, I heard so many speakers just talk about their stories. And then I realized I was not the only one with a backstory, and that actually everyone has a backstory that helped drive them to success. So in that moment, I knew I needed to turn that pain I was feeling into power and motivation. And that's exactly what I did. And I knew it wasn't going to be an easy process, and it was still going to be a process. But for the first time, I felt a sense of abundance again. And Dynamic Essentials brought me that. And ever since that first DE, I never looked back. And every DE, I gained more and more from the last DE. And I now know that God has a plan for me. So ever since I've found my abundance, I've been able to shower my practice members with abundance. So right after that, Alex threw me right in. I literally graduated September 24, got my license in late October. 2 days in, I went to work by myself for 2 weeks. And that first week, I did over 322 adjustments, which was amazing. And I also just want to shout him out for trusting in me. I know it's a really hard thing to leave your practice to someone else, but he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself that I was so, so grateful for. So something I thought I could never do, but my innate knew I could do it the whole time. And after that, practice has just been a blast. I've learned so much. I've gotten to meet so many people, and I've developed so many great relationships through this. It's really interesting, to go from a place of feeling so down and so out and so unconfident in yourself, not knowing, what and where life is going to take you, to feeling so much power, so much improvement in yourself, and positivity and confidence. It's amazing. And DE really, really has shown me that through all the different stories I've heard, through all the different things happening. It was just amazing. I could not be more thankful for it and for what Alex and China have brought me. Another really fun fact that I've really experienced is that I'm really passionate about pregnancy and pediatrics. That's something that I always wanted for myself in an office. And it really is true. What you want to see, you'll attract, because more and more mamas and babies have joined our practice since I started. And specifically when I started working on my own. Actually, just a few weeks ago, I was able to adjust a mom in labor at her home. At her home visit, she was having a home birth. She wasn't progressing like she wanted, so the doula suggested bring her chiropractor in. She texted me, and I was there in literally 30 minutes. I was so excited, and it was the most magical experience I could have experienced. The room was just filled with so much love, abundance, trust, innate. It was everything, and I ended up adjusting everyone there, down from the doula, midwife, mom, dad. And it was such a beautiful thing that I'll never forget. And again, so grateful for that opportunity, And now in just a few short days, we're going to be moving offices. Abundant is moving to a bigger and better location, lots of space, lots of parking, because, in Philadelphia, it's not the easiest to be parking and, going around town. So I'm really excited about that. It's a really modern space, and, it's really nice. Just as I'm transitioning into this office and transitioning into being a new doc in a new space, I'm also able to transition into a new office. So it kind of just feels like a whole big new beginning that I am really, really excited for. The office space is amazing. I can't wait to start making memories in that new space. But, just going back to what I was saying earlier, it is a lot. It has a lot to do with Alex, China, Dr. Paul Blumsack, everything. Without them, I would have never found DE. And I feel as though that I could never have done this without any of them. I'm so grateful. again, not knowing chiropractic since till I was 24 years old, and then being able to meet all these very principled chiropractors. I always knew in my heart of hearts that's what I wanted to do, was be a principled chiropractor. And I am so glad I was able to achieve that. And, in such a short amount of time. Alex really threw me in there. And at first I was scared, nervous, but I'm actually so, so grateful for it. It has taught me resilience, strength, confidence, and I have really been able to turn something that was so painful for me, feeling lost and lonely without having, your dad by your side, or, my mom is still with me, but it's in a different way. And to be able to turn something that felt so awful into something so good has been an amazing experience, and I couldn't have done it without Dynamic Essentials, really. Yeah. So I really appreciate everything on that end. Yeah. If I could say, I would definitely, I recommend now all of my friends who are just starting out or still in school, I'm telling all of them, come to Dynamic Essentials, come to Dynamic Essentials. You're just going to be showered with love. And they ask me, what is it? What is Dynamic Essentials? And I tell them, you just got to go to find out. It's about giving, loving, serving out of your own abundance. And that is something that you can't put a price on. It's amazing. And so I'm hoping that some of my friends will come and join me in Clearwater, Florida, to just experience this. Because I think as a new doc, it is super important to stay grounded, go to DEs, go to all of those things so that you can just fill your cup up and learn, because it does get hard, especially as a new doc. You have patients questioning you and you don't know how to answer sometimes. And I always looked at Alex as like, oh, like, hey, he was always there for me. But those 2 weeks when he was gone, I really learned how to step it up and become the doc that I wanted to be. And I don't think I would have been able to do that without Dynamic Essentials. He actually brought me while I was interning with him. So I interned with him for 6 months as a peak student. And he told me, we're going to DE. And I was like, okay, what's DE? And he told me it's about giving, loving, serving out of your own abundance, and told me all about Sid Williams. And I knew a little bit about him, of course, but I didn't know to the extent of what I was getting myself into. And I got there and was immediately showered with love. He actually had me stay with another student, and that student taught me so much. She's been going to DE for a little bit now. She's actually the president of the DE Club at Sherman, Frances Hawkins. And it was an amazing experience. Once meeting her, I just felt so welcome, so warm, and I couldn't have done it without any of those people. So I think the moral of the story here is that DE is something that can really, really, really just help anyone, whether you are a student, new doc, or a doc who's been in practice for 20, 30 years. What this is about is giving, loving, and serving, and I couldn't be more happy about that. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I am beyond grateful, and I can't wait to just continue my journey and keep going to DEs. It's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited. But yeah, thank you so much for letting me speak and giving me the time. I really appreciate it.
You rock it, girl. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy.
Absolutely. Sometimes being thrown in there, like you said a couple times, thrown in there makes the coal turns into a diamond. And you're definitely, I would say you're a diamond in the rough, but I think you're a diamond shining right now. So God bless you.
Thank you so much.
I could feel you. I could feel you through the ether. So, and obviously there's some comments coming up how everybody felt you. So, great job. Best of luck with your mother. That's tough. That's tough as a young lady like that. I know that. But and you said it right at the end now, how young doctors need it, and they do. But my story is I've been in practice for over 20 years when I came to my first DE. So you're right. It's all of us. We all need to be reminded, and we we need those reminders like you just reminded me of the give, love, and serve, and that passion that you brought forth. So you did a great job. Really love and appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Love you too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak. Not many new docs get to do this, and I really appreciate it.
Well, dear, you just hit a home run. Good job.
Well, thank you.
All right, everybody. Get registered for the next DE, and we will see you next week on the Tuesday night call. Love and appreciate y'all. Great job, girl.
Thank you.
Good night.